All right, this is the Solopreneur Systems episode 2. Thank you guys for joining. Dr. Silva, Mr. Camilla, Rita, Shauna, see you guys. Thanks for joining. Johnny, can you imagine we're actually having the ability to create a company of one, and we're actually teaching it here in the month of April?
Right. Right.
All right, guys, here we go. Enjoy the show today.
Welcome to Season 11 of Airhead Institute, your 45-minute AI power-up at noon Eastern. This month, we are broadcasting live across all the socials and Zoom. If you're new here, join our free AI community to grow alongside other curious minds and give your kids a head start by enrolling them in the Airhead After School program. Here is April's weekly lineup. Mondays, we take the training wheels off and run AI locally in the local LLM Forge. Tuesdays, we explore accessible AI apps for rapid learning and self-improvement in the Learner's Toolkit. Wednesdays, we build a company of one from scratch in Solopreneur Systems. Thursdays, we uncover bite-sized productivity and creative tools in Hidden AI App Showcase. Fridays, we push the boundaries of human longevity and biohacking in the Biological Upgrade. We're making AI practical, powerful, and accessible for everyone. No tech background? No problem. Whether you're a student, professional, or lifelong learner, just show up. Guided by your hosts, AI Junior and AI Johnny, we're keeping it bold, brainy, and built for real-world impact. AI won't take your job, but someone who knows how to use AI will. Don't get left behind.
Welcome, everybody, to Season 11 of Airhead Institute. Today is Episode 2 of Solopreneur Systems. I'm AI Johnny, joining you from the University of Kentucky Medical Center. Most creators are bleeding time on high-end production, while their competitors are simply out-executing them with a prompt. The polished era is dead. We are now in the era of high-velocity precision. Today, we're collapsing the bridge between a messy napkin sketch and a Madison Avenue product shot, shrinking weeks of agency work into 5 minutes of digital alchemy. You aren't mastering these workflows. You aren't just behind, you're invincible. To show you the gears behind the magic, here is AI Junior. I caught him at 3 a.m. this morning trying to prompt a man in a leopard suit, only for the AI to give him a literal leopard in a tuxedo. Apparently, 20 years of software engineering counts for nothing when you're being outsmarted by a cat in a blazer. AI Junior, take over before the zoo calls.
AI Johnny, all right. So the AI was struggling with the context of the costume. Welcome, everyone. Let's do some housekeeping first out the way. This is an immersive class. You may not understand everything we say today, but stick with us daily and you'll be fluent in AI in no time. If you're on Zoom, unmute and ask your questions real time. If you're on socials, there's a 30-second delay, so type your questions in early. We are not ignoring you. For context, we're in week 2 of building a company of one from scratch over 5 weeks. Last week, we built a storefront. Today, we focus on entirely digital assets. We're generating professional brand assets and high-end product shots without a camera. AI Johnny, are you ready?
I'm ready for a wow, brother. I could use one.
All right, guys. So, guys, if you remember last week, we actually built out a website in actually about 5 or so minutes, and actually trying to launch a company, and we're gonna continue and build on that. So, if you actually have an idea and you're trying to think of something to create, hey, Adrian, thanks for joining. I see you. If you're trying to build something, you usually probably start off, an idea started on the back of a napkin. So, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with some drawings. So I'm going to go over to Flow for a second, and Flow is our chosen editor for videos and images. So I'm going to drop that in the chat so you guys can see. So if you actually go over to Flow, Flow allows you to actually interact with Google's text to image model called Nano Banana and Google's text to video model called Veo 3. They're on version 3.1 now. So if you're actually there and you have a Google account, logging in is easy. Depending on the plan you're on, you may get some tokens that you may get for free, or you may get access to, a little bit more depending on the plan that you're on. All right, yeah, Johnny. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do this on the fly, and anybody can actually participate as well. So let's pretend, for argument's sake, that we're gonna invent something brand new. Now, I did this behind the scenes for something else to see if we actually ever want to switch over to that thing. But let's actually build a new product on the fly. So anybody who wants to invent something, give me something, a little kitchen gadget or something that you'd love to invent. I'd be like, you know what? I'd like to actually invent something like that. Any ideas, guys? I give you guys about 30 seconds. What's on your mind, yeah, Johnny? What would you love to invent?
I'd like a pill bottle that just instead of me having to remember when to take it, it just ejects a pill out every 4 hours or every 8 hours, whatever the doctor recommends. Can
Okay,
you do that?
that's interesting. All right, let's do that. If anybody wants to, let's throw out colors of the bottles, or let's talk about, what shape or that thing, anything. So what I'm gonna do is, yeah, Johnny, can you see my font here? Is it a little bit too small? Let me make it a little bit bigger. So I'm saying, give me a pencil drawing. Now, keep in mind, I am not gonna draw the thing, but you could actually do the same thing. So give me a pencil drawing.
I think it's
Drawings.
interesting that we're using AI to take our pencil drawings and turn them into executive level graphics,
Ex,
and we're too lazy to even do the pencil drawing, so we're asking AI to draw it out.
Yeah, exactly. But you can take any drawing you want. So we're gonna say, give me a pencil drawing of sketch of a pill bottle that I want to invent that automatically ejects a pill at the right time.
Like
All
a
right,
gumball machine. Like
like
a
a gum,
gumball machine.
like a gumball machine. All right. So anybody wants to add anything to this crazy prompt that we're inventing this product? Speak now or forever hold your peace. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and generate that. Now, while that's actually coming back, let me zoom out a little bit. And what we're gonna do is so pretend, so I'm setting the stage is, let's pretend that we were drawing our idea. We had this idea, we wanted to draw it. We would probably get something on a napkin, or, on a whiteboard or a piece of paper. And because we actually have that, we would then have that digital, that thing for us. Now, if you say, for example, look at what came back, you may have a drawing that looks something like this. So AI Johnny, which one of these machines would you actually want to say, let's go with that one?
Well, they all have cranks. I don't think I want the crank. I
Let's go
want
with it.
a
Let, 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 let-
I want a digital interface that just tells it when it's going to happen.
I know,
So
but
any
let's go
one
with
of them, they all look the same.
so
The
we
one on
want.
the bottom right looks like it's a pill bottle on top.
All right, so let's do this. So we're gonna take this, and this is where the magic happens. So you start with a drawing, and this is the drawing that we're going with. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna say we're gonna add to prompt for here, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a nice little prompt here, and I'm gonna drop the prompt in the chat so you guys can actually follow along. So we're gonna take this one and we're gonna ground this image that my mouse is hovering on, and we grounded it by saying add to prompt. And by adding it to the prompt, we actually said this is the image I need to ground as my invention. So we're gonna drop in a little text here, and I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger so you guys can see what it is. We're saying transform this basic product sketch into a high-end photorealistic product shot. Place the product on a sleek marble podium with dramatic cinematic audio studio lighting, deep shadows, and a dark blurred background to make the colors pop. All right, so we're
Are
gonna
you
go ahead
putting
and
that in the chat, brother?
I
I mean,
did.
it's in there. All right, good.
Yeah, I
Good.
did. I did. Thank you for reminding me. All right. So if we actually go here, I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I have to keep zooming in and zooming out because I want you guys to see the text. So what we just did is we took our image that we sketched on a napkin of a pill-based gumball machine. It's an idea that we may actually have, to invent something. We went into Flow. We attached that image and grounded it. And then because we grounded it, we came back with that image and we said, make it a photorealistic gumball machine, photorealistic image with a product shot. So we actually took our little sketch here. Let me make it a little bit bigger so you guys can see. We took a little sketch here, right? And then we got a product shot like this one. All right. So AI Johnny, which one of these do you like?
Well, I like them all now. Actually, the upper left looks pretty cool with the little clock.
All right. All right.
These are all like clocks.
So now we have to
Right.
the clock. We're gonna do this. We're gonna hit that little button here and say animate. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna say animate this so that it has a pill being ejected and the camera orbiting right. This is for a product shot. Okay.
They feel ejected at 9 a.m.
Oh, AI, Johnny, you're gonna throw off the AI. AI is trained sadly only on one time clock on analog clock. So we'll actually get into that little funny thing, which is
Okay. I
interesting.
wasn't saying to make it happen tomorrow morning. I was saying that the video should show that when the clock went to 9 a.m. But that's okay. Keep going with what you're doing.
Yeah, I'll actually tell a little bit of tip on what is wrong with analog clocks. And there's actually it's like asking AI how many R's are in strawberry. It just cannot figure out how many R's are in strawberry, or it cannot actually figure out time on the analog clock. So we'll actually get into that little extra tidbit that's actually rather interesting in a second. While it's actually loading, because it's going to take about a minute or so, let's actually go to Gemini. And for you guys who are playing at home, how many R's are in strawberry? Let's see if they actually patched it.
It's got to be fixed.
All right, so we know that there is 1, 2, 3 R's in strawberry. So let's see if they actually fixed it. But this was broken for a very long time. And I'll explain why the problem is, you know what, it's actually doing a deep thinking. So it's probably going to be like, yeah, it's 3. But let's change it from, I want a fast answer. And let's copy this. And let's see it with fast. Let's see if it actually got it. Okay, still getting it. They fixed it. So what was happening was it was thinking that there are 2 R's in strawberries. And the reason why is because the way how the tokens are broken up, strawberry was actually showing 2 R's. Same thing with clocks. So clocks are actually trained, analog clocks are actually trained on product shots. And almost all product shots that they fed the AI happened to be at one specific time. It was at 10 minutes after 10 o'clock. So it had that really, really nice product shot of an analog watch. And you'll see they're almost always at 10 after 10, right? So those are the images of that the model were trained on. So the AI thinks that all time is always 10 after 10. So unfortunately, if you actually try to say put it to a certain time, it's going to struggle at those things because that the training data itself is not actually there. So let's get back into our flow and see what videos we got. So let's look at a couple of videos. Let me turn the sound on so you guys can hear. There you go. All right, and let's see what other videos they have. All right, there you go. Yeah, Johnny, that's your invention.
So I can take this to a Pfizer and tell them I've invented this thing, and I need we just need the funding, Mr. Wonderful, for the production. I need $2 million.
Exactly. We just need the funding to be able to do it. So what we're doing here is we're actually, and now keep in mind, we actually took a really complex example, but it doesn't have to be hardware. It could be something silly like a t-shirt that's much more simple to actually make. And you can take those product shots and put them on the website we actually built last week, right? So the point is going from idea to business. We're actually at week 2 and hit the second stage of bringing your ideas from your head using AI into product shots onto your websites. So AI Johnny, let's get into the word of the day.
Well, wait a minute. I want to make a comment on how many thousands of dollars we just saved in photography equipment and studio rentals in about 5 seconds. Look at the way the light actually reflects off the marble. It understood the material properties perfectly. So all I need is a single piece of physical inventory to start marketing a physical product today.
Exactly. So you
No,
just
it's
need
a
an
good
idea.
time to be, it's a good time to be alive if you want to be an entrepreneur.
Exactly. So there should be nothing stopping an idea that's on a napkin that to bring it to fruition, to bring it to the world. All right, yeah, Johnny. So let's get to the word of the day.
Yeah. So interestingly, the word of the day today is image to image, which is a three-character code that I had never heard before, right? Text to image, text to video, text. Now it's image to image. So it's an image of a drawing to a professional image. This is a technique where AI model uses an existing picture as the starting baseline rather than just text to create a new output. So
Exactly.
that
Go ahead, yeah, Johnny.
Um, well, I mean, instead of using pure static, using image to image gives the AI a structural map. It forces the system to respect the contours, the shapes, and the layout of your original sketch while painting entirely new pixels over it. It's wild stuff, bro.
Exactly. And because this is an AI class, we're going to get into the actual diffusion model and the things. Now, again, because this is an AI class, I don't want people to get lost in the details. You're going to pick up one and two things here and there. But as time goes by, you're going to hear us repeating these concepts and it's going to become obvious. So we actually start out really, really light. And so you guys can understand. So image to image itself is be able to ground the AI in a specific image, and you want to get an output that's very, very close to what you actually started with. So that's why it's actually able to understand your sketch and bring it over. All right. So because we're actually using image to image to be able to transfer from a grounded image to a new image, let's go ahead and play around with this a little bit. Let's say, for example, we weren't happy with our initial image, right? Let's say, for example, this was not what we kind of liked. Which one did we pick? We picked the bottom, we picked the top one. So let's say, for example, we didn't like what we liked. We didn't like the one we picked. Let's say, for example, we wanted to change it. We could actually change this on the fly. What things you didn't like, yeah, Johnny? Did you not like maybe the stainless steel top? Did you not like it actually had a pill, but the bottle was actually empty? I know you didn't like the analog clock, maybe something else. What do you want to change on this?
Well, let's change the analog clock to digital. Let's add the logo, maybe Airhead logo.
All right. So what we're gonna do
Let's change
here.
the color of the pill to blue because I take blue pills.
All right, so let's do this. So we're gonna actually hit the more button. We're gonna hit add to prompt, right? So we're actually grounding it with this image here, and we're gonna say we want this to be a digital clock. Change the analog clock. Let me make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see it. Clock to be a digital clock. And you said you want also pill to be blue. And what else there, Johnny? You said?
Logo,
Oh,
Airhead
add
logo.
add a AI logo. I don't think the Airhead logo is gonna fit, but let's add AI logo. Yeah. All right. So what we're gonna do is, does anybody else have any changes that they want to make to our little invention that we can actually add here? All right. So we're gonna go ahead and just go ahead and run that, and let me zoom out so you guys can see all the things that we're gonna make. So what it's doing is it's actually taking our image just like we did with the sketch, and I'm showing you that you can actually do the same thing over and over and over again. So you can run the same image that you got as an output for your first image to do it again to generate another image. So the point is you can daisy chain, or you can have this continuously over and over and over and over and over again. So yeah, Johnny, so we have digital clock here. So here's one.
Yeah.
Let's look at that picture. It's actually pretty nice. It actually has the AI logo on the side. It has the time and the set, and actually that looks good. Let's also do one more change. Let's actually fill the bottle. Let's fill the bottle. Oops, let me make it bigger again for you guys. So what we're doing here is just repetition here, so you guys can actually understand the concept that you can actually do anything you want. Fill the bottle with pills. Okay. And any other changes yet, Johnny?
No.
All right, so we're gonna hit send here. Now, if you guys are just joining, we're actually using a tool called Flow. This is a Google product, right? And it actually is a really, really, really amazing suite to be able to interact with images and video all in one tool, where you're not going to a different large language model interface to actually interact with one thing and then interact with another thing. You're not doing all of that jumping around. So AI Johnny, here's what we got.
Well, on the surface, it appears that we're taking advantage of Nano Banana and the flow features of Google. This isn't a tool class. This is a solo entrepreneur class. And so what we're actually covering is, if you're a person that has an idea that you want to put into business, at some point you're going to have to mock up whatever your product is, and you're going to have to write a business plan, and you're going to have to bring it to a VC or to somebody that can help you fund your new enterprise. And what we're saying is that what used to take weeks and thousands of dollars now takes seconds and costs nothing. So what we did
Exactly.
was we were too lazy to even draw out our idea on a napkin. So we asked AI to draw it on a napkin. Then we took our napkin sketch and used image to image to make it into a 3D image with lighting and pills and the whole nine. Then we asked Flow to take that image and give it a 3D image. So now it's ready for you to write, probably for Gemini to write the business plan and take it to whoever you're going to take it to get seed capital for your venture. So if you want to be an entrepreneur, and you may be forced into it when everybody loses their job, this is a really good class to be in.
Definitely. All right. So, does anybody have any questions on what we actually just showed, what we actually just taught of being able to go from image to image using a tool like Flow? And again, if you have a Google account, this is free. If you, they do give you a limited amount of tokens, and just make sure that you pick the right image model so you don't blow through all your tokens if you're just ideating. All right. If you just want to do something simple, don't use the most expensive version. If you're actually going to do a video eats up a lot of tokens. So just pay attention. If you do run out of tokens, just wait another day. They're going to reset it daily for you. All right, AI Johnny, let's actually get to the deep dive.
Okay. So it's like a magic trick, but the person keeping so as the person that has to keep this show moving, let's go a little bit deeper and ask, how is it actually interpreting these terrible drawings that we do and making them good drawings, and then taking good drawings and then making them great drawings? Tell me what is happening behind the scenes for those of us high tech.
Yeah. All right, guys. So this is just so you guys understand. So when you talk about normal text to text large language models, right? It's in the what's known as the token prediction game. So the example I like to use is, if I were to say a sentence, what is the next token or next word that would typically come? And I almost always ask AI Johnny, if I said happy birthday to blank, what would be statistically more likely what you would to say, AI Johnny?
Peanut butter.
And that would be a hallucination, right? Because there might be 0.001% who responds to peanut butter, but the 99
happy
the,
birthday to you.
The 99% likelihood is that it's trained on actually pulling in the word you. Now, in an image model, it's a little bit different. And the reason why it's a little bit different is because they're not doing the same exact things like a text-to-text model. They're actually using a diffusion model. So a diffusion model itself, it starts out with blur, with just random garbage. And I think the best way to actually show is is like this, right? So on the diffusion model, if you see this little image here, I know it's a little quick on the image to see, but it starts out with dots, right? And then what happens is it actually groans that information and actually takes that and says, hey, you know what? This seems to be, a structure of some kind of building. Let me run it through my model or my network. And then it actually then eventually pixels come in one at a time, and it actually gets clearer and clearer and clearer, and then that's how the diffusion model works. There's a little bit more technical that happens, but I want you guys to understand first that it starts out as just random noise, and eventually it gets clearer and clearer and clearer over time, just like how this image itself shows you here. It gets clearer and clearer over time. So that's what it's actually doing, and we call that moment while the AI is thinking inference. No matter what you're doing, if it's a text-to-text or text-to-image, it's running inference to actually think how to generate the actual results. Now, keep in mind, it's actually using things like its weights that we actually taught yesterday. It's using things like, the parameters to figure out what's changed to see how it should adjust the thing. So it makes it look either realistic or should it look cartoony. It will figure all of that out based on how it's actually trained. All right, yeah, Johnny. Was that a little bit too much? Because we're gonna go deeper.
You know, I'll tell you, brother, when you talk about diffusion models and parameters and latent spaces and in inference, if it's a word you don't understand and you don't use every day, you just sort of take it with a grain of salt and you nod like you know, but you don't know. But you hear it over and over again, like we're doing. And I'm now starting to certainly I'm getting a clearer picture of what inference is with regards to the weight that it gives to each things. So, you're right. You open up every one of these shows by saying, look, you're in a foreign country, people are speaking, you don't know what they're talking about. You're there for a week, and all of a sudden people start saying things to you like you understand hello and where is the bathroom and how do I order a steak. And the more we do this, the more we learn just by sitting here paying attention to this class. These somewhat complex terms are actually coming to fruition in our own minds. So kudos to you on that, brother.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Johnny. And I hope everyone, I see the hearts and the reaction going up in the Zoom chat. So I hope you guys actually understand that the way we're structuring the show is that everybody has a taste of something, right? If you're coming here as a very technical person, the latter part of the show is actually more interesting. If you're coming here as a novice that you don't really know as much about AI, you can jump in and get the wow factor and understand the basics, pick up the word of the day, and then over time, like AI Johnny is saying, you're just eventually gonna pick up all these things. So it's really great that we have something for everyone here. Does anybody have any questions or comments so far? All right. So AI Johnny, you know the drill.
Well,
Let's
now
get
that I've said all that, and I've sold people on how your technical jargon is actually something that will take hold in your brain at one point, let me give the folks a fair warning. This is where AI Junior nerds out really deep. So plug your ears if you don't care about the heavy tech, or leave them open and maybe learn something over repetitious time. Junior, getting deeper into the technical weeds, how do we stop the AI from hallucinating a completely different product when we run this?
Yeah, exactly. So unlike TTT models, text-to-text models, the diffusion model works a little bit differently, right? It actually has what's known as a control net, which is a neural network structure that controls the diffusion model by adding extra conditions, right? So it's actually essentially extracting the hand-drawn drawings, whether it's a wireframe or whether it's a really, really as close to image as possible. And it's actually taking that from your sketch and lock those pixels into place. So it's saying, hey, if I have a tree here, or if I have in our coffee, if we're in our pill bottle example, it will take the lines and of the borders and say, this is exactly where I want the lines to be. And it will then start filling in the details of the actual image that you actually want, right? So it's really an amazing thing that it's actually doing. It's actually navigating, again, latent space, which is a compressed multidimensional map of mathematical details on a multidimensional graph. So it's actually, again, don't want to throw too many people off, but it actually figures out what these things mean semantically, right? So because we're actually using what's known as a zero shot means you're not given an example. You're saying, I just want a really, really pretty picture of this. It's trying its best to figure out what is the product you want before it generates the result. So it actually takes those edge drawings of what you're actually doing, taking those little lines that you drew, locking them in, and then taking its best statistical guess what it should look like in the real world based on its trained data. So it's actually kind of controlled with this control net. It's kind of locked in, and then I know we spoke about this before. Is it even doesn't hallucinate, it reduces hallucination. Actually, it doesn't hallucinate. It reduces hallucination by using a GAN. And this is a generative adversarial network where there's two AIs fighting against each other that says, you didn't do it right. It doesn't look good. Then the GAN actually says, the original one says, okay, you know what? Yes, you're right. It doesn't look good. Let me go back to the drawing board and make it better. Then the GAN says, oh, I'm sorry. No. It still doesn't look good. Let me go back to the drawing board and make it better. And over thousands of iterations, it just starts to look realistic and pretty. And then when it's done, it says, hey, here is what I came up with in terms of giving you the result. that is roughly how we actually stop the hallucination when we actually go from a drawing like this to a beautiful image like this. Okay, I know it's a lot of details there, and I see Shauna actually said, nerd out AI Junior. We'll try to keep up. Thanks, Shauna. Does everybody at least have any questions? I don't know if that was a little bit technical. So the people who actually are following along with that technical details, hopefully it makes sense. If you don't, understand, we can definitely you can definitely ask questions or come to AI office hours today between 3 and 5 p.m. Eastern time, and we'll give you guys some one-on-one personal attention. All right, AI Johnny, let's get to some key takeaways.
Junior, I like a rigged game. So one of the things that I want to talk about real quickly before we get to the key takeaways is hallucinations in general. The fact that it makes mistakes, it learns from its mistakes, much like human beings. We all learn to walk by falling. We all learn to talk by mispronunciating words and having our parents correct us. So even though the GAN system seems to be doing a lot of that trial error, trial error, trial error, trial error, even if it comes back as an error and it's a hallucination, we just tell it that's a hallucination and try again. It makes note of the fact that after all that GAN work, it still came up with the bad result, and now it learned something new. So over time, much like humans, we get smarter as we get older. Same is true with AI. So it's not a technical thing, but it is something worth noting, especially if you're the type of person that gets frustrated when AI doesn't give you what you want. Maybe it says not giving you what you want right now, but it will learn and it'll give you more of what you want later. So take heart. All right, key
Exactly.
takeaways. Here are some of the things that you can use right now to help your business grow. You can test product viability with targeted ads before you ever paying for manufacturing. Think about this. You can write an ad with a three-dimensional video of your product and see whether or not the marketplace is going to respond to that without ever even creating the thing. That's just incredible. That's like 2026 only, brother. Didn't happen in 2025. You can also create endless social media campaigns with consistent branding by swapping out the backgrounds. So again, the idiot, what that would cost to have a video guy. Have you ever hired a cameraman? They come in and they charge you $5,000. You want one little change, it's another $1,250 on top of that. It's insane. It's all free now. Finally, you can instantly redesign packaging concepts for a client pitch on the fly. I've seen you do this in the show. I ask you a question out of left field, and go off to AI and give me the answer in real time. Well, the same thing is going to be true for product presentations if you're a solo entrepreneur. All right, what about stuff on the techie side, JR? You got any takeaways on the tech side?
Definitely, definitely. So there's lots of them, and we always just try to give you some practical ones that you can actually do now. So you can generate hundreds of high quality UI and UX placeholder assets dynamically, right? You normally would have to have a layout and just try to fill something in. You can build automated pipelines that ingest user sketches and output polished avatars, right? You can also do edge detection to scale low fidelity 3D models into high resolution 2D assets for gaming environments. So there's lots of like cool things, taking things from a sketch to actually a nice professional ending model. All right, so do we actually have any questions with respect to the class, what you guys actually learned? Anything there? We have, if you don't have questions, we're actually gonna go to the live stream. I see Shauna actually did say something, says as long we give feedback though, not just moving on. I think that was regarding as long as that feedback loop itself, we actually do that thumbs up and we actually say this is a bad result. Google itself will actually, or the AI models will actually take that and retrain its information. So I like that, Shauna. Thank you. AI Junior more often than not pulls the data from his head though. Yeah, you're right. Shauna, I was gonna call you AI Shauna. Yeah, so definitely my context window is actually pretty large. All right, yeah, Johnny, let's actually go to questions. Does anybody have any questions?
This is a great class, man. Questions are queuing up. I got one from Digital Dave. He says, "I'm brand new to this and I wasn't paying attention. Do I need to draw? Do I need a drawing tablet to make the sketch?"
All
Sorry,
right.
Dave.
No worries. It's a great question. So, what we did was we actually kind of cheated on the actual show. The reason why we cheated is because we wanted to start out with a drawing. Now, I'm a terrible artist and I can't do anything realistically good to save my life artistically. But what I can do is we can actually generate a sketch with AI. Now, if you actually even give it the most silliest sketch, we actually showed on one of our previous shows, turning a kid's drawing that you would put on a fridge and turn it into a real life animation so kids can actually enjoy what they've created. You can see that you can create anything with even a terrible drawing. So, Dave, just to be clear, you don't have to draw it on your tablet. You can draw it on a napkin. You can draw it anywhere and use your phone and take a picture of the item that you drew. Because you've taken a picture of it, you can take that picture and then upload it. So just like how I want to show you guys again, in the bottom here, if you click that button at the bottom in Flow, and I'll drop the link again if you guys joined late. So it's actually, Flow is a Google product. And if you actually click the plus button down here, I'll show you the options that you have. If you hit the plus button here, right, you have the ability to upload image. And if you hit upload image, you're going to ask you to, for that picture you took of on with your digital camera, and then you can use that to ground your prompt. Hopefully that answers the question. What else, yeah,
In my
Johnny?
high school drafting class, my teacher, Mr. Ewing, used to come up to me and tell me that some of the lines that I drew were thinner on one side and thicker on the other because the ink on or the lead on my pencil got flatter as I moved. And he explained to me that they have to be perfectly flat from end to end. And then he would always show me his drawing and how perfect it was. I wish at that time I could have said to Mr. Ewing, hey, just wait 50 years and I'll be able to use my voice to create drawings 10 times better than yours, and every line will be perfect. Even the mistakes that you made won't be there because
Yeah,
there's a
really.
thing coming along called artificial intelligence, and you have no idea, Mr. Ewing. All right, another question.
Yeah, sure.
All right, Code Runner wants to know, technically, does this compress the final output resolution if my original sketch is in low quality?
Yeah. All right. So here's the amazing part, guys. So what happens is Flow is using VO 3.1 model. So VO's 3.1 model actually has four outputs, right? So if you actually click on this button here, there's a more button. When you click on it, it actually asks you to download. And then when you actually download, it actually has, well, it's saying three right now, but it actually technically has four. You have this the GIF version that you can actually download, which is like a two. Actually, yeah, it's a very, very low quality version. So they probably don't even want to give you that option. But you have the what's known as the 1 kilobyte source that it actually takes your drawing. And no matter how terrible your drawing is, it will figure out and actually try to give you a 1K, which is a standard. It's nice for social media sharing. It's nice for sharing over WhatsApp or text messages. It will get compressed. If you need to print, though, you're going to actually want to get the higher, what's known as upscale version. So your drawing, even though it's actually a picture of a drawing, it will upscale it for you and actually give you a really, really nice high quality. I'm putting the word high quality as a 1K image. If you need to print it, I would recommend going up to 4K, right, to be the highest resolution possible so you can actually print it on a really, really nice poster board or whatever you want to do, marketing material. You want to get the 4K version. So no, you're not stuck in terms of getting the low quality compressed version.
Okay. So any resolution, no matter how bad of a drawer you are.
Any resolution, yeah. You could be drawing with with a crayon. Those big fat crayons, yeah, Johnny, and just draw circles
Yep.
and squares. You definitely will get still something amazing.
Futuristic Phil asks, will this eventually kill the commercial photography industry entirely, or will we get 6 more weeks of using the old tools?
So my personal opinion is just like software engineer is not dead, just like doctors aren't going to be dead, just like how all these jobs you're just going to become it's going to shift the focus. And I do think that massive pivot or change, commercial photographers become, let's call it spatial directors, where they use their technical ability and they say, hey, I know how this lighting should be. So they write the prompt that says, like how in our prompt, we actually said here, we said, make sure it's on a marble countertop and make sure that it actually has lighting, studio lighting. Like, I don't know what photography expertise is, but the photographer who's learned and trained and know those things, that's what the things they're looking for. So what happens is they know how to direct the actual AI to prompt better. So I do think that expertise is still going to be required. The number of people taking physical photography, just like how we moved from, the way the iPhone got we're just clicking thousands and thousands of pictures per year. I think the number of AI images are going to balloon and skyrocket. And I think the number of real photographers who say that's a real job will probably go down.
Well, what about the news, brother?
All right. So this is actually pretty impressive news. The first one is actually breaking news. So yeah, John, let me take this one. So the first news is Anthropic, which is a competitor to OpenAI. It's a competitor to Gemini. It's a competitor to all the AI companies. So they actually have their own model. So Anthropic actually was creating a new type of model called Mythos. And Mythos itself is so powerful that they actually withhold releasing it. So because they actually withhold releasing it, people are saying, why do you withhold releasing, the Mythos? It's because it found so many security vulnerabilities that exist in things like Linux operating system, BSD. It found issues in Amazon Web Services. It found issues at the operating system level at in Microsoft. It found issues everywhere. So what they're doing, just like a really good security company would do, is you give the exploit or the things to those companies to let them fix the foundational things first. So what they're doing is they're making a cybersecurity initiative called Project Glasswing, which is a preview of their next frontier model called Mythos. So because they're actually withholding it, they're just going to give it to these companies first, and they're going to fix it, and eventually they're going to give it to the public. So I don't know if this is a marketing stunt. It's actually really great news, but regardless, they're doing the right thing by not releasing Mythos directly to the public right now, and they're making these big tech companies fix the problems first. So I do like that move.
Were there any holes in the OpenAI architecture?
Oh, I'm sure there were. I'm sure there were.
Maybe they should let a few of us use it, like you and I. No,
Yeah.
that's no glory.
Shauna's saying sounds ethical.
Yep. Gen Alpha leads the shift to AI for entertainment discovery. A new Nielsen report found that 49% of the Gen Alpha teens consider AI chatbots the best source for TV and movie recommendations. I agree, surpassing streaming services, interfaces, and traditional internet search engines, and even Roger Ebert. While traditional search still holds trust for perceived accuracy, chatbots are officially dominating discovery for the next generation.
Exactly,
right.
and the EU comments.
Heard of Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel, right? Remember those guys used to have the market?
Definitely.
The EU, where my 13-year-old is currently residing, commits 20 million euros to accelerate the AI in cardiovascular care. The European Commission has committed 20 million, I'm guessing, pounds to a flagship initiative to deploy AI tools in cardiovascular care. This follows recent data showing that AI is drastically reducing stroke treatment times by detecting major vessel blockages from CT scans in a matter of seconds. How timely is that piece of news, Junior?
That's definitely super timely, Johnny. All right, guys. What are you going to take with this class?
Hey, listen, everybody. This has been an unbelievably cool class. I don't know if you know this, but Trevor, which is one of our guests, suffered a severe, not a head trauma, but a bleeding of the brain. He had a stroke. We do not know how he is. I'm actually broadcasting live from his hospital room, and I'm going to ask those people that are watching to say a prayer for him because the diagnosis is not yet in. I'm going to immediately take the workflow we just learned from Google Flow and redoing the thumbnails for some of my old videos and sketches. It's just too easy not to do. Tomorrow on Friday, we're jumping into our hidden AI app showcase with the IU Wizard using VO by Vercel. We're going to generate sleek user interfaces from simple text. Make sure you tune in then. Junior, take us out.
Yeah, and definitely praying for
You want meatballs?
Oh,
There's
hold on,
meatballs in there.
sorry.
Those are
Yeah, so definitely definitely thinking about Trevor. Trevor's actually was on our show even just yesterday, and so definitely hopefully things work out really well and a speedy recovery. All right, guys, thank you guys for watching. Remember, sign up for a free Airhead account at and RSVP for all our shows at airheadinstitute.ai. Since today is Wednesday, don't forget we have Airhead After School and our Airhead AI office hours starting today at 3 p.m. Eastern Time if you're already an Airhead Pro member. Invite a friend by sharing this episode. See you guys tomorrow. Later, guys. Bye.
That wraps up today's AI Power Up. If you joined late or you're new here, welcome to Airhead Institute. This is your daily destination for mastering artificial intelligence. We designed this lineup for everyone, whether you're a technical pro looking to upskill or you just want to chill and learn something new on your lunch break, we've got you covered. Our classes evolve every single month, so you're always on the cutting edge. And the best part? It's totally free to join. Once you're in, you can get live tips on your AI projects in our AI office hours and even enroll your kids in our Airhead After School program. Scan the QR code to join the community right now and make sure to like and subscribe at Airhead Institute on all socials. Guided by your hosts AI Junior and AI Johnny, we're here to help you win. Remember, AI won't take your job, but someone who knows how to use AI will. Don't get left behind. We'll see you next class. Bring a friend.